In my wildest dreams, I never thought that a day would come like this, when our own workers would indulge in this kind of rioting and mob violence and lead up to causing serious injuries to about almost 90 managers and supervisors, and leading to the burning to death of one senior officer. It's something which I just cannot believe could happen in a company, and yet it happened. And that's why I'm saying I wish we had met under happier circumstances. Let me give you a little background of the events of the last, let's say, a year, to get a perspective on what has happened at Manesar. You're all aware of the strikes which took place last year. And I'm sure you would recollect that probably the major demand of the workers at that time was that they should form an independent union not affiliated to the Gurgaon Union. A second cause was the complaint about contract workers, that the contract workers were being exploited, and therefore that was another cause of the problem of the union at that time. Then there were some comparatively minor demands relating to late coming and incentives and leave and those two or three matters. I think that was the sum total of the demand. Finally, when the strike got resolved, there was absolutely no victimization of any of the workers. Most of them came back to work. Some of them took kind of VRS and went away. Soon after that, Mr. Nakanishi, Mr. Siddiqui, Mr. M.M. Singh, and I started a process of communication with the Manesar workers. There was an initial meeting where all of us participated. All of us went to the Manesar factory. We met a whole lot of the workers in one of the halls there, including some of the leaders of the strike which had taken place. And we had, in a very cordial atmosphere, discussions on how their future, the company's future, could all be ensured for the long term. It was unanimously agreed that the way forward has to be through mutual communication with each other. That problems can get sorted out if there is goodwill on both sides and if there is communication between both sides. After this meeting, Mr. M.M. Singh and Mr. Siddiqui have continued to have monthly interaction meetings with the union and with workers at Manesar. This process of communication is intact even till now. It's not broken down. It's not been stopped. Communication channels are wide open. That's one factor. Second, despite the Haryana government having some reservations about registering the union when it was done, they finally agreed to the company's view that a union should be registered because we believed in good faith that once the union was registered, a major demand of the workers would be settled and they would then go forward in a spirit of cooperation and a spirit of mutual communication. The union got registered. They even sent a box of sweets to Mr. Siddiqui here for having got the union registered. It seems this was all very short-lived. On the issue of contract workers, the company decided a new policy by which the number of contract workers would be drastically reduced. They would only be used in non-value-adding activities, would not be used in anything directly related to production. The numbers would fall drastically, and the recruitment of contract workers would not be done through a contractor, which leaves possibilities of some amount of misuse. But the recruitment would be done like for any regular worker by the company's HR department. And these contract workers would in course of time be given priority in becoming temporary and regular workers. This policy was also announced to all the workers, and this process of a gradual transition to this policy was to be completed by March 2013, less than a year away. And it was known to all the workers that this problem was sorted out. Other issues relating to leave and the incentives and whatever, these were all resolved. There were no outstanding issues of the previous union strikes, of previous strikes, which were left unresolved at this point of time. I think it's important to understand this because I hear people here and there saying, oh, management doesn't settle issues, they make promises, they don't fulfill them. You know, the usual kind of things. Oh, so-and-so is saying this was not done or that was not done. I want to categorically state that all these major issues, including the union and the contract workers issues, have been resolved both for Manesar as well as for the Gurgaon factory. These are not issues which are live anymore. Wage negotiations were due. Wage negotiations had been satisfactorily resolved in SPILE some time ago. Negotiations with Gurgaon union started for the Gurgaon wage settlement, and a little bit later negotiations started with the Manesar union for the wages in that plant. These negotiations are continuing in both the plants. There has been absolutely no break in the negotiations, and it includes workers. I'm not saying it's only supervisors and managers, it's everybody in the factory. We cannot risk any further damage to them. That is the reason why it is necessary for us and for the Haryana government, jointly and severally, to do a complete investigation into the events which happened, to identify the factors which caused these events to happen, what were the causes, what was behind all this, why did it happen. We need to know, because till we know this, it's not possible for us to apply the correct correctives. We have to correct whatever is wrong so that there is no possibility of a similar kind of danger or risk to people's health and safety in the future. For this reason, therefore, we are not in a position to start production in the factory till we are able to identify this and apply correctives. Some of it could be done quickly, some of it could take longer, but it is very necessary for us to make sure that such a thing does not happen again. I hope I am quite clear on what I am saying, that we value that far above anything else. We will not endanger our people any further.